Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining me today. And for today, we are making a quick and easy cottage cheese bread. All right, cottage cheese buns, cottage cheese bagels, however you want to make it. The recipe is very easy and simple. We only have a few ingredients with us. And if you don't have these ingredients, you can always tweak it to your liking. Okay, so anyhow, this is perfect for your breakfast, even lunch, or even dinner. So I like to make it in the shape of buns because I can use it for more things compared to when I shape it as a bagel. And to be fully honest with you, the shaping is just the shape of the bread, so you shape it however way you like to do it. Okay, now I do have here a food processor, okay, but you can make this with or without the food processor. The only thing is, if you make it by hand, it's going to take you a little bit longer. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the measurements and stuff. Okay, so here we are. And for this one, I will just be using the regular blade. Some food processors, they have a dough mixing blade, and you can swap it out for that. But for this recipe, you don't really have to. The regular blade is good for this one. Okay, so in any case, first things first, we're going to measure out our dry ingredients first. So, okay, we're gonna start with 250 grams of flour. And with this one, you don't really need to sift your flour. You can use any type of flour that you want, but for this one, I am using bread flour. Alright. The thing is, the higher, or I should say, the stronger the flour, basically the better the chew. Okay. All right. So now there are different types of flour. Ideally, like I said, for this one I use bread flour, and you can also use all-purpose flour. I haven't tried using I have not tried using almond flour or other, let's say, oatmeal flour. Maybe sometime in the future, we are going to try that out and see how it will go. Okay, so there we go, 250 grams. Now, I like to measure out my portions with a scale rather than using cups, just because it's more accurate this way. So for this one, I am using Kirkland Everything Bagel Seasoning. You can use, if you don't have this one, you can use salt and pepper to give it some taste. But since I do have this one, I will use it. Now, I like to mix it in with the dough itself. Some people, they put it on and sprinkle it on just on top, but so you do however which way you like it. Okay, so we're gonna put in about 15 grams of this one here, or actually we'll make it 20. The thing is, when it's mixed within, it somewhat loses a bit of the taste. So, okay. And now that we've got this one here, we're gonna close it and pulse it first. Okay, all right, so now we've got it properly set up. Make sure your base is secure. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to pulse it for a little bit, okay? There we go. So the pulsing is just there to make sure the dry ingredients are mixed and well distributed, especially if you are using salt and pepper to taste. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, one more thing, and I could have put this in earlier as well, which I did not, is we're going to put in some baking powder. Okay, so for the baking powder, we don't really need much. We only need half a teaspoon. Okay. There we go. I'll just sprinkle it in. So that's about two and a half grams of baking powder. Okay, now that we've got the baking powder in, we're just going to pulse it. Make sure, just pulse it a few times. Make sure it's well combined in there. All right. Pulse it a little more. Okay. And now that it's well combined in there, we're gonna zero our weighing scale again. And this time, it's time to add in our star ingredient, which is the cottage cheese. So I'm using a 2% Kirkland cottage cheese here. Now with this one, it's best to use the wet type cottage cheese because there is a version or a type of cottage cheese where it's dried. Okay, so if you are going to use the dried cottage cheese, of course you have to adjust it with some water, some liquid. Okay, anyway, so we're gonna measure out pretty much equal parts of your cottage cheese here. Now, some recipes, or I guess some people like to they like to blend the cottage cheese first and make it into a liquid. I generally don't bother for that because they will combine all together anyway. So let us put the cottage cheese in the here. 140. So 250 grams of cottage cheese. If you go a little bit over, it's okay, but you might need to do some adjustment just because your cottage cheese or your dough may end up becoming a little too sticky if it's too wet. So if that happens, you may need to add a little bit more of your flour. But if you do, oh wait, there we go. But if you do, just remember that the macros will not be the same anymore. All right. Okay, so there we go. We've got our cottage cheese in, and back to the food processor it goes, and we are just going to put this, well, we're gonna put it in the dough setting, but actually it will have to go for quite a bit. So just make sure you hold on to it, and let's get it started. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep this going until the dough is about semi-formed. So now that the dough is semi-formed, now is the time to add our mix in. So we're gonna put it back on our weighing scale and make sure we zero it out. And so for this one, my mix in would be this Nature Source salad topper, and we're going to put in 60 grams of this. Now you can use any type of seeds, nuts. My son has nuts allergies, so I'm using seeds instead of nuts. You can also use dried fruits. You can use a lot of different things to add flavor to your version of this recipe. Okay, so we put in 60 grams of that. Now let's just give it a good shake, and then time to put it back. Okay, so right now just wanted to show you how. So we're just gonna keep on going at it until the dough forms. Okay, so you'll know once the dough is formed when it's clumping up and off to one side. At this point, we can take it out and just knead it and mix it by hand. So now that we've got our dough set and ready, the next thing we will do is we're going to set up our pan for baking. So once you've got your sheet pan prepared, I like to grab a sheet of parchment paper, and you just roughly fold it to shape just to cover your pan. You don't necessarily have to cover the whole pan. Some people, they like to scrunch up the parchment paper. It makes it easier. But for me, I just fold off the sides. It's just as easy. So just like that. And that covers up the area that I need to get covered. And just lay it down here. Okay, next thing we do is we're just gonna take our dough out of the food processor. Smells real good, and you just need to be careful with the blade. Okay, most of it has come with the blade. Okay, but it's not sticky, just a little bit. All right. And we'll grab every last bit of that dough from the. So what you can do, if there's still a little bit of remnant in your food processor, you can just grab a piece of dough and clean it off with that piece of dough. Grab another piece. so it will generally stick to itself. There we go. Okay, now that that's that, just put the blade back inside. Set this aside here. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, the dough comes in clumps. Make sure you cleaned up your hands before you start handling any food. And if your hands get soiled in the middle of what you're making, and I always tell everybody, don't be shy to wash your hands again and keep it clean. So you can make it roughly into a dough ball. You can fold it in on itself to shape it. Okay, so some people, once they have made the dough ball, flatten it a bit and then you can cut it into 4 or 6 pieces. I like to cut it into 4, so I like my bread to be a little bit on the bigger side. Now you can, like I said, cut it as it is, but I prefer to portion it. So I weigh the whole dough. Okay, 580, 590. They are roughly portioned to be the same each. And then just, like I said, you can shape them any which way you like. As far as I'm concerned, I just like to shape them into this. Some like to shape them into a bagel. So what you do is you just shape them this way, and then you can poke a hole through it and then spread it out. Or other way you can do it is you can flatten it, roll it out into a tube, and then just make a ring out of it. You can turn it into a bagel. Now, traditionally, if you're making bagel, you can just plop it into boiling water and cook it for a few minutes in the water, and that is what gives the bagels their chewiness. But for me, and with this recipe, I generally don't do that. I just put it straight into the oven. So just flatten it about up to half an inch thick. Because the thing is, it will rise, and you would want to press it a little deeper in the middle. Otherwise, it tends to rise higher in the middle. That's the reason why. As you can see, nothing is sticking to my hand. So this dough is not sticky at all. Okay. So the nice thing about this one is it's high in protein because of the cottage cheese and some additional protein from the seeds as well. And then you've got your fibers content, and really the seeds make a great alternative taste in place of peanuts and nuts. If you prefer the taste of nuts, you can use it. But just keep in mind, with nuts, you get a little bit more fat as well. So that is one thing I find other fitness channels forget to mention is that they tell you about protein. You need this much protein, this thing gets this much protein. They tell you about the calories, but in most cases, especially for me, I need to be more mindful about my saturated fat and cholesterol content in my food because of my dyslipidemia. So if you are here in this channel, most of the recipes that we will be sharing here will be mindful of those things. And that is one reason why I've made this channel, is to let you guys know that as much as, you know, for the most part, red meat is great for making or meeting your protein needs for the day, but it's a lot higher in fat and cholesterol content, even when it's lean compared to chicken meat and fish. Now it depends. When it comes to fish, there are fishes that are quite fatty. Like salmon is very fatty, some types of tuna, but generally speaking, tuna and sardines, especially sardines, it's very nutritious, it's very accessible, but it's not very well known. Okay, so we've made 4 patties here. All right, and now we're gonna head to the oven and cook them. All right, see you there. Okay, so here we are now. We've got our 4 patties right here, and we're gonna put them in the oven. Actually, we should preheat the oven since we are baking. And the nice thing about this oven is it doesn't take too long to preheat. So we'll set it at 350 and we'll set it to bake. For the time, we are going to bring it down to just between 16 to 20 minutes. So we'll set it to 18. Actually, we'll set it to 20 and we'll push start. So while this thing is preheating, we'll fix up our patty a little bit better. So this recipe is good as it is on its own. However, you can also match it with a lot of other things. You can put cream cheese just like with a traditional bagel. I like to put jam, but today I'm going to put on some nut butter. So that is what we're going to have for breakfast today. Now I just need to be careful and mindful when I'm using the nut butters because my son has anaphylactic allergy to nuts. And if you have allergies to nuts, then you probably don't want to use that. But like I said, if you don't though, you can also incorporate some nut butter in the dough itself to give it that nutty taste. Otherwise, you can roast up some pecans, however which way you want to say it. That's also a great add-in for this one. Raisins. I've never tried it with chocolate. Might work, but for this one, right now I have it. This recipe will give you a combination of sweet and salty taste. And sometimes if you feel that it's a little too dry for you, you can adjust you can add in some more liquid, or you can dial down on the flour so that it's not overly dry. Another option would be adding some butter, either that or your nut butter, peanut butter. You can put in olive oil in place of that to make it a little more healthy. Oh, there we go. So now it's ready. We'll just open this up and we're going to pop this in the very bottom, and we'll leave it at that. I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, so we are just about done with this. We have about 30 seconds left. Now make sure you have your mitts, or in this case, I forgot what these are called, but anyway, make sure you don't touch it with your bare hands because it's going to be hot. And so 3, 2, and there we go. Perfect. All right, so let's see what we got down here. All right, so this is nicely baked, so nice and good. Now, as I mentioned, I purposely made it as flat buns. Okay. All right, there we go. So let's set these down right here, and still a bit hot, so we're gonna let it cool down for a little bit, and then we're gonna have a taste test and we'll tell you how great it is. Okay, so finally we've got our finished product right here, and it's cooled down for a bit, still kind of nice and warm. So we are going to grab one, and now with our nut butter, I am using, or I will be using, this Kirkland mixed nuts butter with seeds. Another great option. It's a lot less sweet than your typical peanut butter, but I like that it's all natural. So, all right, let's grab one, and we're gonna slice. Maybe I should have made it a little thicker, but nevertheless, it's got a nice crunchy crust to it, and the inside is pretty soft and chewy. So we're just gonna slice through and around, just like how you will do with the bagel. All right, and here we go. Let's open it up. I'll show you. Here's what it looks like, and it's nice, soft, chewy, and bouncy, even though we didn't boil it. All right, so, and I'm quite excited now. I'm going to set this aside so that we don't risk contaminating it with our nut butter. And as you can see, well, my best friend, the weighing scale is back, because we are going to put 2 tablespoons of nut butter. And by the way, I will be sharing with you in the description what our macros will be. Actually, instead of the description, I will share with you right here what our macros would be. Okay, and that is just for the dough itself, or the bread itself. Okay, so here we go. We'll zero our weighing scale, and this one is nice and soft. Now when you do open this one, you need to put it in the fridge, because it's all natural. I believe they didn't put any preservatives on in here, so it's best to put it in the fridge, and it'll keep for a while. Let me see. Okay, that's our first round of nut butter. Nice and easy to spread. See what we got, 18. So we'll put 30 grams, so we'll put a little bit less on this side. We're gonna put it together anyway. All right, let me see where we're at. 30, perfect. All right, so there we go. We've got lovely nut butter right here. So with this breakfast, the macros together with the nut butter will be posted right here for you to see. Right, and let's give it a taste. Put it together, make it into a sandwich, right? That is just fantastic. Real good. Sweet, salty, with the nut butter and the everything but the bagel seasoning. Nice crunchy crust. And nice chewy inside. So if that is your deal, then this is a great breakfast for you. Healthy, packed with protein from the nut butter, the seeds, the cottage cheese, okay, and then it's got lots of fiber from the nuts, from the seeds, and the flour, the whole wheat flour that we have in here. So amazing, amazing goodness. Now, thank you very much for watching, and make sure to tune in the next one. I will see you in the next one.